Hi, how are you guys? I hope you're doing great today because today we're going to talk about present simple. Okay, so I hope you're okay. Okay, I'm going to reproduce a video for you. I want you to pay attention.
ESL Library. Simple present. What are verb tenses? Verb tenses show the time that an action takes place. The simple present is a verb tense. We use the simple present tense for repeated actions. Repeated actions happen over and over again. For example, I eat breakfast every day. I read in bed every night. I always study after school. Simple present verbs have two forms. Which form do we use? That depends on the subject of the sentence. Subjects can be pronouns. Subjects can also be nouns. We use a base verb when the subject pronoun is I, you, we, or they. I walk to school every day. You always drink coffee. We sometimes eat dessert. They study every night. We use verb plus S when the subject pronoun is he, she, or it. He reads the newspaper on the weekend. She takes the bus to work in the morning. It sleeps on the couch every day. We use a base verb when the subject noun is plural. The students take the bus to school. My parents drink coffee every morning. We use verb plus S when the subject noun is singular. The student walks to school every day. My dog always sleeps on my bed. We also use verb plus S when the subject noun is non-count. Snow falls from the sky in winter. My hair grows quickly. Look at the picture and say or write a simple present sentence. For example, she drinks coffee every day. Now you try. Thanks for watching.
Well, I hope you have understood something, just a little bit, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to explain it better. Okay, today's topic is the present simple. And today we're going to see present simple in affirmative sentences and in negative sentences. Because this subject is kind of long, okay, so we're going to divide the topic, okay. Okay, and when we write sentences in present simple, we follow a structure, okay. First, we have to place the subject pronouns. We always talk about subject pronouns. Remember that subject pronouns, we saw them in our first class, and they are I, you, we, and they, okay? Remember that you might mean tú or ustedes, Spanish, okay? And also we have he, she, and it, okay? The present simple, to write sentences in present simple, first we have to place the subject pronoun, and then we have to place the verb in infinitive. What is the verb in infinitive? The verb in infinitive is the verb which is not conjugated, okay, which is in its original form, okay? For example, I work, you work, we work, you work, they work. But what happened with he, she, and it? We're going to add a letter S at the end of the verb. He works, she works, and it works, okay? Work. Does anybody know what is the meaning of in Spanish? Work. Don't you know what is the meaning in Spanish of the word work? Work. Have you heard? Okay, work in Spanish means trabajar, okay? Okay, remember that I told you that when we conjugate he, she, and it in present simple affirmative sentences, we add a letter S at the end of the verb, okay? But we also have to follow another criteria, okay? For example, for the majority of verbs, we're going to add a letter S, okay? For example, work, works, breathe, breathes, okay? The second verb, when the verbs end with a letter Y, with a vowel sound and a letter Y, we are going to add a letter S at the end of the verb. For example, play. Notice that play, first we have a letter A, and then we have the letter Y. Okay, it's a vowel, and it's the letter Y, which is a consonant. Okay, so we add a letter S. He plays. But in this case, it's different. Okay, because here we have a consonant, and then we have a letter Y. Okay, I study letter D and letter Y. We're going to add IES. IES. He studies. Okay, we pronounce he studies, but when we write, we don't just add a letter S. We add a letter IES. Okay. Remember, this is vowel and letter Y. We only add a letter S. Okay. But when we have a word that finishes with a consonant and a letter Y, we add IES, okay? And finally, we have another rule. I want you to take notes, okay? Remember that you don't have to forget to take notes, okay? Because then we're going to do some exercises and it's going to be useful for you to have taken notes, okay? Now here we have that when the verbs end with a letter O, just like go, we add ES at the end of the verb. He goes. We pronounce goes, okay? But in reality, we write ES at the end of the verb, okay? Goes. He goes. When the verbs end with CH, we also add a letter ES, okay? Wash, which is limpiar in español. He washes. He washes. Él limpia. ES, because wash ends with CH, okay? So we add a ES, okay? Also, when we have verbs that finish with TCH, we're going to add a letter, we're going to add ES, okay? For example, watch, watch. He watches, watches. We add ES at the end of the verb, okay? Also, when the verbs finish with a letter X, we're going to add ES. Fexes. He fexes. Fex, arreglar, okay? And when we have a verb that finish with W, with two letter S, we also add ES, okay? For example, kiss, he kisses, okay? Okay, I don't know if you understood this part because it's kind of complicated, I know. Did you understand this part, guys? Don't you have any questions about this part? Do you have any questions in this part? Because I understand that it's complicated for you to understand. So do you have any questions about this slide? No questions, okay. Alondra wrote in the chat comment, no questions, okay. Okay, now we're going to talk about the uses for the present simple, okay? We use the present simple to talk about activities that we usually do. For example, I go to school every day, okay? It's an activity. Go to school, it's an activity that we do usually, okay? We go to school generally from Monday to Friday, okay? Well, in these times, it's different. We don't go to school, and the majority of us, we take virtual classes, okay? So we also use the present simple for that activity. We can say, I take classes every day. I take classes, I take virtual classes, okay? We also use the verb, the present simple with time preferences. What are the time preferences? They are every day, week, month, year, Sundays, at weekend, in summer. I don't know if you remember, but in our past class about adverbs of frequency, we saw some of these words, some of these expressions, okay? These time preferences, okay? And here we have an example. She studies French in the afternoon, okay? She studies French every day. She studies French per month. She studies French a week, a year, on Sundays. She studies on Sundays, etc. Okay. And finally, we can also place adverbs of frequency. Okay. Again, remember that yesterday we saw about adverbs of frequency. Remember that adverbs of frequency in present simple sentences, we add the adverb before the verb, okay? Here we have he never watches. We place the adverb never before the verb, which is watches, okay? And remember that the original verb is watch, but we are conjugating this verb with he, okay? So we add a letter S, okay? But also you have to take into account the roots, okay? Watch, we add a ES, okay? Because here we have that the verbs that end with TCH, we add ES, okay? He never watches TV after lunch, okay? Here we have some examples. He goes to school, okay? Remember that we have a rule for this verb, okay? When the verbs finish with a letter O, we add ES, okay? But remember for I, you, they, we don't add a letter S, okay? We just say we caught school, I caught school, they caught school, okay? But when we use he or she and it, we add a letter S, okay? Here we have another example. They eat a lot. Okay, we just first it's the subject pronoun, then the verb, but we don't add a letter S, okay? And complement. She surfs the internet. Ella navega por internet. We add a letter S, okay? I play the flute. I play the flute. I don't add a letter S, okay? But if I say he plays the flute, this case I add a letter S, okay? Because it depends on our subject pronoun, okay? Okay, I don't know if anyone can tell me what is the meaning of this sentence, I play the flute, according to this picture. Do you have any idea? I play the flute.
Yo toco la flauta.
You toco la flauta, that's right. It's easy to intuit the meaning because of the picture, right? What about this one? She cries. Do you know what is the meaning in Spanish? Cry.
Ella llora.
That's right. Ella llora. And again, we add IES, okay? Because the original verb is cry, okay? Cry. We have a consonant and a letter Y, okay? Remember that we have a consonant, just like study, and then we have the letter Y, we add ES, okay? Terminology, okay? Just like in this case, okay? Well, now we're going to talk about how to form negative sentences in present simple, okay? Well, this is kind of different, okay? I want you to pay attention, okay? Because it can be difficult for you. I know that in affirmative sentences is difficult, okay? So you have a lot of information, but so that's the reason I want you to take notes and pay attention, okay? And here we have the structure, okay? First, we are going to place the subject pronoun, which are I, you, we, they, he, she, and it, okay? Then we're going to add the auxiliary verb, which are do and does, okay? But again, it depends on her subject. We're going to use don't for I, you, we, and they don't. And we're going to use doesn't for he, she, and it, okay? We can also, in those examples, I brought these sentences using the contractive form, okay? I don't play. But remember that we can also say, I do not write. For example, we can also say, she does not study. She does not study. She does not study. Or she doesn't study, okay? Remember that this form is informal, okay? When we use contractions, is informal, okay? So we're going to use don't for I, you, we, and they. I don't play, you don't dance, we don't eat, they don't like, they don't like. We're going to use doesn't for he, she, and it. He doesn't breathe. He doesn't breathe. Él no lee. She doesn't study. She doesn't study. Ella no estudia. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't sleep. No duerme. Remember that we use it for things and animals, okay? And again, here we have some examples. They don't breathe. Okay, and here we have a picture. Here we have two boys. And obviously they are not breathing. They are painting, okay? So they don't breathe. They paint, okay? They don't breathe. They paint. She doesn't love him. She doesn't love him, okay? And again, we use doesn't for she, he, and it, okay? He doesn't drive. He doesn't drive, okay? Él no conduce. He doesn't work. He doesn't work. Él no trabaja. He rests. Él descansa. Él duerme. He sleeps. He sleeps. Remember that we add a letter S for affirmative sentences, and we add the auxiliary before the verb for negative sentences, okay? He doesn't work, he sleeps, okay? Él no trabaja, él duerme. They don't sing. They don't sing. They dance. Ellos bailan. They don't sing. Ellos no cantan. They dance. Ellos bailan. Okay. So here is the difference. Here we have a negative sentence with present simple. Okay. And here we have another sentence, but in affirmative. Okay. In present simple too. Okay. Okay, now I brought some examples. Okay, we're going to enter together. Okay, for example, here we have Dave. Dave is the name of a male person. Okay, is the name of a boy, of a man. So we're going to use doesn't, okay? Doesn't. Dave doesn't live in Madrid. Live. Sue. I think is the name of a girl, okay? So remember that we brought the verb, but we add es, okay? Sue studies German at school. My dad, mi papá. For this verb, which is drive, we only add a letter S, okay? My dad drives a red car. We don't walk, okay? We use don't for I, you, we, they, okay? The bus, sorry for bus. It's like it, okay? So we're going to use doesn't, okay? Mr. Brown, I don't know, do you have any idea about this one? Here we have the verb. This verb finishes with CH, okay? CH. So we add ES, okay? Mr. Brown teaches math, okay? The children play football. We don't add a letter S because the children is a plural. It's a plural noun, okay? It's like ellos, they, the children, or they play football, okay? So we don't add a letter S in the verb. Murray is a singular subject, okay? And here we have the verb wash, and the verb finish with CH. And remember that we have to add ES watches, okay? dishes after lunch. And we have already finished. I hope you don't have any questions. Do you have any questions that you understood? Because I understand that it's complicated. Do you want me to explain something again? Do you have questions? Guys, do you have questions? Yes or no? Okay, you can write in the chat comments, okay, if you are having problems with your internet. Okay, Alondra wrote in the chat box, no questions, teacher. Okay, that's good. And I'm glad for that because it's a kind of complicated topic to understand. Even for me, it was difficult to explain you. Now we're going to play a video game. It's very easy. But first, we're going to study some verbs so that you can answer the quiz properly, okay? Well, here we have some verbs, okay? The first one, drink. It's pronounced drink, okay? According to this picture, do you have any idea about the meaning of this verb in Spanish, drink?
Tomar.
Tomar, yeah, drink, tomar, that's right. What about this one? Walk, walk. It's pronounced walk, okay?
Caminar.
Caminar, that's right, thank you very much. What about this one, pack? It's pronounced pack, pack.
Empacar.
Empacar. Even it's similar to Spanish, right? Pack, empacar. It's kind of similar, right? What about this one? Eat, eat. It's pronounced eat. What you think is the mean Spanish?
Comer.
Comer, that's right. Okay, what about this one? Shut. It's pronounced shut. Do you have any idea, guys?
Cerrar.
Uh-huh.